guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension, and we are working on day number 4 of the 31 Days of Tarot 2020 that was started by Ethany Dawn, and you can find all of the information on the blog on our website at ethany.com/blog. And so the 4th day is the 5 most used decks between 2010 and 2019. So I'm also going to do number 5 in this video as well, to try to cut down on a little bit of my time, time management kind of thing. So anyways, the first deck that I used, and I was just talking to Summer about this over at Astoria Sun channel. I had an awakening during this process, during this particular hashtag, because I was wondering, I've been saying that it's going on 2 years. Well, I was talking with Summer a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago maybe, I'm not sure. And you guys know my memory, okay? I struggle with remembering stuff. I take in so much information and then I forget because I don't write stuff down. I'm terrible. And anyway, so I went back, it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I started looking because I'm like, gosh, something didn't seem right with how long I thought I had been reading. I mean, you get on YouTube, and I don't know if this happens to you, but time seems to go by. It just seems like there's so much more time that has gone by than actually has, because you're so inundated with so much information, especially with like tarot and different studying and different decks, yada, yada, yada. You get what I mean. It just seemed like it was a much longer period. So anyways, I told you that the first tarot deck that I got was like through a party box. So I went back to Crate Joy to check and see when I got that. And my first deck I got in October, my first tarot deck, which is this one, in October of 2018. So I'm just over a year, like 14, 15 months with tarot. And my first Oracle deck was in August, because I got it through Amazon. So I went back and I looked, and it was Amazon that I purchased this in August of 2018. I knew I had gotten it in this house because we just bought this house November of 2017, and we moved in December of 2018 or 2017. So it wasn't until later that year. So I'm actually really proud of myself, because I beat myself up, or I have in the past, for not remembering so well and thinking, gosh, it's been 2 years and I still can't remember these things. Granted, in the last few months, I have really, really been remembering them because of the cards that I told you that I make, referring to those and having those on hand when I need them. These, damn it, I keep dropping stuff. So I made these for myself, not the major arcana, because those were pretty easy to remember. It was just the minor arcana that I had problems with. So anyways, yeah. So in less than a year, I remembered what the meanings were. So I'm pretty proud of myself. So anyways, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I have issues with my memory. So now moving on, sorry. So the decks that I have used the most since then, this was the first deck that I got. This is the Ciro Marchetti Gilded Tarot. And I used this the most for the longest time. I read through the book, Easy Tarot, that came with it. And I just studied and did a whole journal of every single card, writing down, believe it or not, writing down the meanings, what I interpreted, how that related to my life, yada, yada, yada. And I slept with it a couple of different nights, wrapped it in a cloth, slept with it a couple of nights and paired it with a crystal, and I made a cloth for it, and I made a bag for it, and I mean, it was like my world for a while, and I was just reading with it and reading with it and reading with it and practicing. And I also took an online course through Udemy for tarot with this. So this was my #1 deck that I worked with in the beginning of 2019, or 2019, the end of 2018 to 2019. And then once I got this deck, or no, I think it was this deck next. See my memory. So I fell in love with this. This was the first one, the Druidcraft Tarot. This was the first one that I had actually modified by cutting it down and edging it and really bonding with it and using it, because this deck just completely speaks to me. I mean, it puts me in a like Excalibur or King Arthur or Knights of the Round Table or Druid Vikings, all that. It puts me in that frame of mind. So I love being taken into that world. So I used this quite a bit. And then I moved on to the Everyday Witch. And oh my goodness, I just absolutely fell in love with this deck. This was a major turning point for me, this deck. I still, as much as I love the artwork in this one, and as much intense study that I did with this one, it was still not super easy for me to connect with. I also got a traditional, well, the Universal Rider-Waite, and that is a really good one for learning the symbolism and all that, but I just really didn't turn to it. I really turned to the Everyday Witch. Also because I started reading about witchcraft probably 7 years ago, but I started actually putting it into practice in 2019. Towards the end, well, I mean, I had done some little things, but more actively with other things, you know, spells and writing spells and working more with herbs and actually starting to do it was 2019. So this really spoke to me on a couple of different levels. It took me into that kind of fantasy world also. I mean, everything that I see like visually. If you talk about, like, for instance, like the 1920s, I think of their style and what they were wearing and what the dance places looked like and what the cars they were driving. So I see like that. Same thing when somebody says Egypt. My head automatically goes to the pyramids. It goes to like the Nile and crocodiles and, you know, Isis and Cleopatra and Nefertiti and Akhenaten and King Tut. You get where I'm going. Mummies and hieroglyphics. That's how my mind works. So that's how I easily associate things. So this was a major turning point for me in really, really learning like the major arcana was the Everyday Witch. It was easier for me to relate. And then I got this one, the Dark Mansions. And, you know, this one, surprisingly, because at first I seen it several times and I was like, I mean, it's kind of dark. I don't know whether or not I would go for that. And the more and more I started seeing walkthroughs of it, it really didn't seem that dark to me anymore. It really doesn't seem dark to me. This does not seem dark to me. It seems more like Tim Burton, A Nightmare Before Christmas, or some sort of I'm Dark Mansions is the perfect name for it. There was a couple other shows, or like Beetlejuice, or kind of like that kind of feeling. But I can easily see the meanings in the artwork. I thought it was so cleverly done, and the cardstock is just friggin' divine. So I did a lot of work, personal work with this. And I just absolutely do not regret it. It was a wonderful decision to buy this. And I know that there was others that really didn't connect, but me, I just thought it was wonderful. And of course, the very last one that I just, even though I've had it for a while, well, when did I get this? Was it September or October? September, I think. I just was not able to put it down. I still can't. It is by far my favorite deck. It just speaks to me. I have done so, I continue to do my weekly, just to show you a few, my weekly drawings or readings. Before I do my weekly readings every week on my channel, I do the 3-card spread for myself and put it into my journal. And I've completed 6 weeks now, nonstop every friggin' week. This is like a record for me. But I even went so far as to take a picture of every single card and make a database on my computer so that when I do my readings, I can easily, and I'll show you, I can easily print them out and put them in a worksheet that I made. Easy, easy, easy. From week to week. So, that's how much I love the Light Seers and how much I've used it. And I use it like on all of my spreads. I mean, going forward, it takes a lot of willpower for me to not use this deck in my readings because it's just like my go-to. It's the one that I feel the most comfortable with. It's the one that just helps me tap into my intuition because the artwork speaks to my soul. So yeah, I would say that even though I've had a lot more time with many of these other decks, I've still used this one right close to around the same amount of time that I used my Everyday Witch. So those were my top 5 decks that I used between 2010 and 2019. And it just so happens that I didn't even start this journey until 2018, the end of 2018. So now moving on to the next question, which was for day 5. What has using the tarot taught me? Well, like I said, I'm still really, really new. And, you know, when there were other tags going around, hashtags like your Council of 7 and your 7 guides and all that. Oh, there's Sully. I don't normally use tarot like that to answer deep questions. I mean, I'm going to be 49 in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. And so for 48 years, I have relied on myself and, you know, finding the answers in my dreams and talking with my family and just going inward in order. Sorry, I'm going to have to pause this. Okay, so hopefully. So yeah, I didn't really rely on the tarot or oracle to answer, you know, questions for myself. But I will say that it has definitely given me or taught me about looking at things from a different, fresh perspective. Because when you, and you know, I do believe it doesn't matter if your psyche is to the point where it doesn't matter what card you pull, you're going to read what you want in the cards. I think that that's very, that people can definitely be very subjective, okay, especially when reading for themselves. However, I think if you really, really try to learn the archetypes or give yourself certain meanings for certain cards, that it's a good foundation, okay? Let's just put it that way. It's a good foundation to, if you are truly trying to be objective, to learn new things about yourself or about others, or to just really enhance your own intuition. But I do see tarot as a tool for several different things, whether it be a communication with your higher self, which I will tell you feels like, other than my dream work beforehand, or, you know, gazing at the tile floors in the bathroom, or gazing at the clouds, when I'm outside and looking for meaning in that, really, tarot is the first thing that has opened my eyes to listening to my intuition a little bit better and feeling like I'm having a better connection with my higher self. As far as spirit guides and all that, I don't know how I feel about that. I do have something that is on my right-hand side that I can see now. It's been a while that I've been seeing this. It's like a white figure, but I don't know. That could be my higher self. It could be a spirit guide. I don't know. But I feel like, so that communication can go through that for learning wise, but, or that I've learned with tarot, since I've been reading. Another thing is your own psychology, or your own, perception of things, or how your mind works. Because, you know, I've seen the stuff about going to like a psychologist, and they do, and I don't know the technical name for the cards that they ask you, you know, to look into the pictures, and then you decipher what you see in those, you know, images. Well, tarot can be used exactly the same way. So can oracle. So can any kind of image. So I think that, depending on how you read, can also show a little bit more about your own psyche, the condition of your psyche. And I don't think that has to do anything with spirituality or intuition. I just think it has to do with how your brain works, or at least that's one level of it. And then on the other aspect, I do believe that there is spiritual stuff involved as well. You know, like when doing like a past life reading, getting more information, or even thinking about something that you hadn't thought about before. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you have certain things happening in your life now. So I think it's a great tool for that as well. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I've learned so far. And like I said, I just found out that it's been over a year. I can only imagine where I'm going to be in a year from now. That growth, you know, I think that it definitely is a tool for massive, massive growth, whether that be spiritual, whether that be psychological, whether that be with your own higher self. So, emotional as well. So, there you go, guys. As I said, that was day 4 and 5. I'm sorry if this was a little bit longer, and I am sending you love and light. Thank you so much.